very beautiful good afternoon to you all, and a very happy Teachers' Day. It's a big day, I guess, for all of us because from our mother to our mentors to our PG guides, for the nursery, kindergarten teachers, we owe this day to all of them, from writing ABCD to writing prescription. So from ABCD to RX, it's a huge, long journey. And I'm so much overwhelmed for today's session because today's session we are having our honorable guest, Dr. Ambrish Vijayakar sir. And this session we have dedicated as a tribute to great pioneer of homeopathy, Dr. Vijayakar sir, who is still with us in our hearts, in our practice, in our, the case results, the evidence we give to the world. So, without wasting time, I would like to add, hello, Dr. Roma, our guest. Sir will be here any minute. Hello all, thank you so much for being here. Like you all, I'm also super excited about today's session. To tell you about predictive homeopathy, I've been very, attached to predictive homeopathy because when we were third year or second year students, so it was predictive homeopathy who was very much influenced us. Sir, if you are watching this, please accept the invitation. Instagram needs to fix this. Okay. A very good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon, Dr. Anam. Very good afternoon.
Oh my God. Who is in front? Who is here on homeopathy? I can't believe. I'm so much, thankful to you, sir, with your such a packed schedule. You have spared, an hour of your life, of your practice for students like me and so many those who are joining.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Anam. It's a pleasure to be here as well.
Okay, so before we start, I don't know there's anyone who doesn't know about you, but it's my honor, to introduce you. He is none other than he is Dr. Ambrish Vijayakar, and he has the legacy of Dr. Vijayakar. But just calling him as a celebrity kid is a very less because he is professionally qualified as MD Homeopathy and PhD from ECPD. In the field of medical science and homeopathy, he is with Predictive since 2004. He is also director of Dr. Vijayakar School of Predictive Homeopathy. He used to conduct a lot of seminars, workshops across the country and also across the globe, like in Switzerland, Brazil, Serbia, Germany, and Scotland too. So ECPD approached him to set up an international center of homeopathic medicine in collaboration with ECPD. He has done a lot of research and he has made homeopathy very simple. And his main focus is mainly on mental disorders and psychiatric issues. He's also specialized in asthma, allergies, pediatric skin disorders, and he's been invited on behalf of Dr. Vijay. This science presentation highly appreciated by the doctors there. With the such dedication and sincerity, the hard work, and the passion towards his profession, he's already proven himself a successful doctor and assures even more promising future. Again, very warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Anam.
So I think audience will be more eager, than me, more excited than you. So I think we should not waste the time and we should start the session.
Definitely.
Okay. So my first question to you is, sir, what is predictive homeopathy? Why we call it as predictive homeopathy?
Dr. Anam, let me go a little backwards before I speak on predictive homeopathy. Uh, you know, all what you said, I don't know whether I am fit for that. I'm just a student of homeopathy and student of Dr. Hahnemann and student of my father. And I believe what we are today is all because of our masters, uh, master primary Dr. Hahnemann, and then my father, my guru, my mentor, Dr. Praful Vijayakar sir. So, the way he has led and the way he has revolutionized homeopathy, really inspired youngsters like us. And since being his son, growing up with him, it was always a great. I would say I'm a blessed child of a great legend, and it was always a learning, kind of days and nights for me. Not only days and nights, but also morning with breakfast, lunch, dinner, everywhere. So, whatever you said, I'm just a simple practitioner and very, very, grounded and just sticking to the basics of whatever I have learned and whatever I'm preaching today is all the knowledge of my father of our 40 years experience, and we attributed it to Dr. Hanuman. So we are no one. We are just a part of this huge cosmos, just a fraction, just doing our job for what we are sent here. So going back to tell you about predictive homeopathy, for those viewers who have joined primary, let me wish them a very happy Teachers' Day, you know, and have a blessed Teachers' Day. I'm sure you all are, what you are because of our teachers. We are all because of our teachers, and we you owe everything, all the knowledge which we have got right from the primary to what post graduation we have done is all because of our teachers. And salute to all those teachers out there for doing a great job. So going back in my history, Dr. Anam, to tell you, when I was in my schooling, I used to go with my father, and I used to understand what he is, giving these seminars and all. So when I actually started understanding, I was in my 7th and 8th grade when he started, talking about homeopathy to me, and he said, Ambrish, this is how we deal with patients, and this is how we treat patients. So that was kind of a bouncer for me. So, going with him actually for me understood, it gave me a, ground of understanding from where he came, what he was, the family lineage. So I'm the 4th generation homeopath, or rather doctor, I would say, in my family. So my father's father was a doctor. His grandfather was a doctor. Even his father was a doctor. So, history is such that my father in his, inter-science, that time it was inter-science, so he did not receive good marks. And then his father, Dr. Gajanan Vijayakar, was a fabulous practitioner in Mumbai. And his grandfather, a surgeon, graduated from England at that point in time in 1900s. So, it was a big, setback, saying, everybody started putting on name, oh, such a son of such a great grandfather and father. And unfortunately, he could not get into, allopathy or medical science. So he tried his best to get, but, destiny had some other answers. And, he always believed that he converted defeat into victory. And that was his journey when he started. Was his father said that, that time LCEH was the course which had just come out. And he said, you just go through it, you do that course of 3 years, and then, you start coming in my practice and join me in my allopathy. This is how the journey of my father started. It was by, not by choice, but, as a backdoor entry, he went into this field, and the journey actually began from there. And I would say that he evolved as an individual, he evolved as a practitioner, and he evolved to a level where he metamorphosized into a better and better practitioner. And those that metamorphosis got better, got better, best out of him, and he saw that what this science has to offer. So when he should say in the seminars as well, that when I started as a poly pharmacy practitioner, and multiple doses, multiple remedies. But then he understood the essence, and then he went into details of human subjects, human sciences, bridged them, and then started practicing. And then understanding organon was something which was the most difficult. So let me tell viewers also that he always gave credit to his mother. My father gave the credit to his mother because the mother was a French graduate, and the English which she had learned was of the highest level. So, and hence even my father's English was to the point and to the core. It was more of the Shakespeare language. So they could decipher the organon, which was so difficult, and decipher it to the level where he could apply that into practice and see the same application of practice into organon as well. And from there he actually graduated in practicing single remedy, single dose, and from simple cases to difficult cases. This is how his practice evolved. And when his practice started to evolve, he came out to his friends and started spreading and preaching, just sharing that, see how I'm getting these results, you put this in practice. And this is where his journey of teaching started. So his friends, his teacher, his colleagues started practicing the same. They started getting the same results, and this is how the Karawa, started spreading, and how he started building his the family and the legacy. So he always went ahead and ahead, and he was a person who always was ahead of time. So he wanted to go ahead of time. And he said that it's not just to be right and at the same place. You have to keep moving, otherwise you will be run over. So he actually kind of went on evolving, spreading, teaching. His followers, his colleagues, his friends joined more and more, and this is how a whole organization formed. And his practice was more than 40 years. And then this is how he formulated a group of people with an ideology and teaching which is primary based on organon of medicine. Let me tell you that predictive homeopathy is nothing different. It is based on organon of medicine, and it is on the thought of Dr. Hahnemann itself. He only coined the name. He coined the name because homeopathy was so very looked down upon. And homeopathy bolega to look never used to look at a homeopath. So he just added an adjective to homeopathy. He said that something different, and people look at you, what is that, just to attract attention of people. And then he could put his points forth. He coined the name predictive homeopathy. And then an entire organization was formed. His friends became teachers, his colleague became teachers. They started preaching, they started getting similar results, because the main motto of predictive was that people should be able to replicate results. His intention was that homeopathy practice is easy, homeopathic practice is mathematics, and results can be replicated. That was his main intention. And this is how he formed an organization which is predictive homeopathy, which is today, I would say it is a revolution in the industry of homeopathy. And not only homeopathy, but in medical fraternity, because the amount of people following predictive methodology is huge. So he had a journey of 40 years, and this is how he laid the seed and the foundation. It was the hardest job, hard work, but he never gave up. People joined him. People actually understood what he's doing because he spoke science. He always to say that homeopaths will receive respect only when they
There's some problem with the sir side. Sir will be here any minute. I've sent the request. If you want to ask, please drop your questions in the comment section. There's some internet issues at Sir's side. Can frozen shoulder be treated with homeopathy? Yes. And definitely you'll be needing physiotherapy with that. Okay. Hello, homeopathic mirror.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, we
Yeah.
lost connection. Yeah.
Somebody joined? Okay. Yeah. Sir, so my next question is how predictive homeopathy is different from other schools of homeopathy?
Well, as I said, predictive homeopathy is not different. Predictive homeopathy is the same what Hahnemann has mentioned. It is purely on organon. What my father preached was purely Hahnemannian principles. He only explained them more deeper on in relationship to modern science. And when your ideologies are strong, it is based on principles of organon. I think nothing can shake you, and that's where he stuck his guns to. He was very, very strong about Herring's law. He was very strong about miasms. He was very strong about single remedy, single dose, no polypharmacies, no mixing. Of course, dosage can be varied according to cases, but at least, practice that single remedy, single dose kind of concept. So miasms were very important. Herring's law was very important because what was happening at that point in time was he said that, doctors used to say, oh, I gave this medicine, the patient was better. So what do you mean by better? The better means symptoms have gone, but where the symptoms have gone? And that is what he actually preached, and he actually emphasized, and he made sure that he put that concept in doctor's mind that just prescribing remedy, homeopathic remedy, is not practicing homeopathy. When you prescribe a remedy, what happens after the prescription? Because the first prescription is the most difficult prescription, and then to understand whether I'm going all right or wrong, just give a dose of Naxomic and the patient say my asthma is better. It doesn't mean. So Herring's law, and Herring's law was looked down upon, or probably people used to question, oh, Hahnemann has never mentioned Herring's law. Why are you preaching Herring's law? So then he said, oh, I think then you need to understand organon correctly, because Hahnemann has very much mentioned in aphorism number 1 that, it's just the high and the only mission of a physician is to restore the sick to health. So when you say restore, restoring is bringing back to health. And when you say bring him back, means you're bringing him back to life. And health means you're reversing the process. So miasm and Herring's law is talked upon. It's upon how you understand. And those people who did not see Herring's law, and he was very ardent in saying that probably they are not evolved to understand what is Herring's law. We need to evolve. We need to evolve. So if I am a young practitioner, if I don't see Herring's law, that's my problem. My knowledge is limited. Right? So if I am short, let's assume, and there is a wall in front of me, I don't see an area beyond that, that's my problem. I need to take a stool and stand up and see the place next to the wall. So similarly, Herring's law can be seen. Herring's law is there in acute as well as chronic. It's how he explained, and he explained on the basis of embryology. So he, preached the connection between the philosophy and modern medicine. And he, where he explained a hypothesis, mind you, with a conjuncture and with support with cases which not only he saw, his followers also saw. And they, it went on, it went like a wildfire. And those who are practicing the right Hahnemannian organon based homeopathy, they will see Hering's law coming. And Mayasm was something जो मजाक उड़ाने वाली चीज थी. So अरे मायाजम तो दिखता ही नहीं है, मायाजम होता ही नहीं है, मायाजम is in only. So he emphasized, no, if you want to practice homeopathy, if you want to be a correct homeopath, mayasim is otherwise don't practice homeopathy. And that is the difference between predictive homeopathy and other homeopathy, that we emphasize on miasm. And miasm, when we say, it's not just that, you will find psoriasis, psychosis, syphilis, tuberculosis. No, it has to be basis of pathology. So he explained in deeper concept that what is the defense mechanism of the cell, and equated it to the defense mechanism of the body. When what Hahnemann said, equating it to gonorrhea and equating it to chancre. So that's only the process what Hahnemann mentioned, because that point in time Hahnemann did not have the means to reach the interior of the man. And he explained, see the visionary, see the intellect of that man, that he emphasized that there is an equation of itch. There is an equation to the condylomata, there is equation to the gonorrhea as well as the chancre. So he's talking about the resultant. There is an underlying process where he mentioned in aphorism 202, 203, 204, 205 that how miasm is important. It's not the primary symptom which has to be treated, it's the underlying process. Underlying miasm has to be treated, but that underlying miasm nobody could gauge. It is where he explained, my father explained, on the basis of pathology what has to be treated. And this is where we as predictive homeopaths differ. And we don't differ from homeopathy. It's the same Hahnemannian organon based homeopathy. It's only explained for the easier approach, easier way, so that the students don't go astray from organon. And let me tell my viewers that we at Predictive strongly believe and preach and teach organon to the groundest level. And he never left organon because it's like a user manual. If I need to solve an acute case, everything is given. If I need to solve a chronic case, everything is given. If I need to solve a psychiatric case, everything is given. So, see, he always said Hahnemann was an Nostradamus. Hahnemann was, a visionary that point in time, and he only simplified and explained Hahnemann. So that's the difference between the homeopathy and predictive homeopathy. And when we say predictive, means something which it describes the quality of homeopathy. And when we describe the quality, it's an adjective, right? It's an adjective. Predictive is an adjective. When I add quality, adjective, it adds value to homeopathy. So when you practice homeopathy on basis of Hahnemannian principles, it is definitely predictive. I hope your question is answered, Dr. Anand.
Perfectly. It has cleared so many of my doubts, because we've been listening that how it is differ, and that I strongly believe the seminars I have attended, I have listened to Sir, and I've seen in his seminar big posters of organon aphorisms and how he has explained. This
Absolutely.
Seen,
and he used to worship organon, not only Hahnemann, but organon. You see any seminar, he would have his organon textbook there. And that's what we at Predictive try to inculcate, because students are aware of homeopathic subjects, human related subjects, but that is one subject which they run away from. Oh, that's philosophy. Oh, that's just a theory. No, it's not. We need to emphasize on organon. Nobody talks about organon. Everybody comes and has the seminar on this system, that system, approach to pathology, this, that. But anybody talks about organon? Why? That just because you've not understood it, you don't talk about organon? And that's absolute. That is 200 years back. Hahnemann has said, no, that doesn't work that way. That's a foundation. That's the foundation of homeopathy, and that's where we strongly believe that every homeopath should, read organon again and again, understand organon again and again, and whatever way our masters and my father has written and explained and simplified, we try our level best to, try to share that. I don't say we have a mastery on that. I don't say that we know everything, but we are trying to make an attempt, at least trying to making an attempt to understand organon makes things easier and simplified. And approach to cases becomes very easy and results are replicable then.
True. My next question is, sir, what is difference between cure and suppression? And I have even, gone through, I have read Dr. Praful Vijayakar sir's Theory of Suppression book. So, why it is important to study about suppression, according to you?
Absolutely, it's so important that when he started with his practice, as I said, random medicines were given, and disease patients were feeling better. So everybody in homeopathic claims to have results, right? So everybody says I have a practice of 150 patients, 100 and 200 patients. Fair enough, due respect to them. But then what will differentiate is the way in which they are handling the cases. So, if you follow Herring's law, so what he said was just disappearance of symptom. For example, I have a skin rash here and I apply a local application, or I take a specific remedy for this and my application goes away. So the lesion goes away, and this lesion goes away, patient says, oh, I'm all fine, but the patient starts getting cough. The patient starts wet cough, dry cough, and then he starts getting backache. So it's the station, the next station which we need to understand that the patient is going into. So for example, if I'm staying in Mumbai and I need to go to Goa, then the next station which is coming is very important. If I Yeah. So if I'm the next station coming is Pune, and then next station coming is Kolhapur, and then going towards Goa, I know I'm going in the right direction. But if I'm going against, I'm going to Nasik, I'm going to Indore in the other direction. So which station I expect? If I don't know what is coming, I'll sit in the car and keep moving, but Goa will never come. Similarly, if I'm treating a disease of asthma, or if I'm treating disease of arthritis, what I should expect next? So if the pains are going from my hands and pains are coming on my shoulders, whether it is right sign or good sign, a bad sign or good sign, or from shoulder is going to the knee, and then from the knee it's just straight away going to my head, good sign or bad sign. So direction, because Herring's law everybody knows, above downwards, within outwards, center to periphery, more important to less important. But then which corollary to follow first is also a confusion. And this is where he applied embryology, how the embryo is formed. So he focused on embryogenesis as well as the fetogenesis. So embryogenesis is first 3 months, fetogenesis is next 6 months. So when in first 3 months a complete embryo is formed, and when complete embryo is formed, there are 3 germ layers in which the embryo comes up: ectoderm, endoderm, mesoderm. And upon that you can actually derive whether the skin suppression going to asthma is a good sign, or from asthma it is going to my arthritis, or for my blood pressure, diabetes, or thyroid problem. So it is going from actually lesser important to more important. And you see, liver side homeopathy, those patients who are on chronic tablets for, let's say they have arthritis, simple rheumatic arthritis, anti-inflammatory they are taking, they'll land up into BP problem, blood pressure problem. They'll land up into thyroid problems. Why? Because that's connective tissue. The next station to connective tissue, according to embryology, has to be your acute system. If it's the connective tissue, it's your parenchyma primarily, and it's not the parenchyma, it will be your acute system, right? Or the hormonal system, endocrinal system. And if it's not the endocrinal system, it will still go higher and damage your neuroectoderm. So whether you believe or not believe, it's there. Those people who say we don't believe Herring's law, don't believe, well, it's there. If you don't believe, that's okay, that's your problem. But it is there. If we don't understand it, that's my problem. And disease moves. Herring's law also says disease always moves, right? So disease will move from lesser important to more important. And this is how application of embryology, he explained and personified Herring's law. right? And this is where I can understand whether I'm prescribing the right remedy or not. So tomorrow just a patient coming to me of hyperacidity lands up with a cervical pain, wrong problem, I mean wrong direction, wrong remedy. I need to change. So what is the basis? Two things. One is I can change my prescription. I know he's going into wrong direction, because then you just attribute, oh उसने कुछ उठाया रहेगा, वो तकिया गलत इस्तेमाल किया रहेगा. It's not that. Your human body is not so delicate and fragile. It's the immune impairment which shifts. And we need to open our eyes and understand it's the immune impairment which is shifting. So certain people will argue, oh, but that does not happen with everyone. That's the individual concept. That's the miasm of that patient. So psoriatic patient will not go into suppression so easily. Psychotic patients will go into suppression, will go manifest into deeper and deeper problems. Syphilis will try and go into more destructive problems. So those people who have suffered from myocardial infarct, go and check in your OPDs. They have to have had suffered from, chronic backaches, chronic neck pains, chronic rheumatic complaints, because that is the next station. That's how embryology works. That's how embryology develops. And that's how the entire disease immune impairment shifts. And this is where the difference is, that if I do not know what is a suppression, I will never know what is a cure. That was his primary funda of writing a book, Theory of Suppression. And that is the first chapter what we teach in predictive school, is how to assess the follow-up. Module 1 is focus. You have done module 1, Dr. Anam. You know that, right? So we focus on the resultant, the result. What is the result? What to expect? So if I don't know where I'm going, how does it make a sense for me to prescribe? So, destination is very important. The means will follow, but I need to know the means as well, so that I reach my right destination, because otherwise I'll keep on prescribing from a simple allergy, the patient will land up into autoimmune disease. And that is where he is written in the book, Theory of Suppression. And I request those viewers, those students who have not read that, please buy and read that book. It will simplify your follow-up, your basis of prescription, your basis of changing of prescription. And it will be more scientific way in understanding whether you're going in the right direction or wrong direction. Because primarily as a homeopath, you should be ready to correct yourself. That's the problem with homeopathy and homeopaths. So
I strongly believe homeopaths
yes,
take the criticism at very personal level. They
absolutely.
don't
It's
correct
nothing about,
themselves. They won't pick the books, but they get
absolutely. And
offended.
yeah, nothing about anyone personal, but then it's about accepting that it is we are moving in right direction. That's what following the master and following to the core, and hence why people who are following Dr. Vijayakar are so successful practitioners. And why following? Because he followed Hanuman to the core. He never said it was his material. He never said it is his knowledge. He only simplified. He explained. He, in spite of being so, he's a legend today. He used to say, it's not my knowledge, Ambrish, it's Hanuman's knowledge. I only explained it. That was his humility. He made things easier, what Hanuman said, and he preached to people, practice that and see how is the result. See how you can see Hering's law, how you can see miasm. And that's the fundamental thing which we teach in our module, that focus on miasm. Miasms are there. Miasms have to be seen. Hering's law has to be seen, but for that you need to understand pathology and embryology. And once you understand that, you understand what is suppression and what is cure. Things are very, very easy. I hope your question is answered, Dr. Ram.
Yes, definitely. Sir, I have seen in Dr. Praful Vijayakar's book, everywhere it is written, homeopathy is mathematical, homeopathy is mathematical. And in Organon, we have read it multiple times that homeopathy is science as well as art. So we would like to learn from you, your opinion, your count on this, how homeopathy is art, science, and mathematics.
Okay, so again, let me answer this question in two parts. So primarily, when you say mathematics, let us understand the whole world is mathematics, right? So leave aside human body, the whole the world is mathematics. So you have seasons who are mathematical, your days which are mathematical, your time is mathematics, right? The calculation around the world is mathematics. Everything is mathematics in this world. It's not pure coincidence. It's mathematics behind. Let's not go into the philosophy, that's a different part, right? But if you boil down to the analysis, it's completely mathematics. And then human body, if you check the blood sugar, you check the blood pressure, you check your electrolytes, everything is mathematics inside the human body, right? So, and Hahnemann has also mentioned that if it's in footnote, that if you practice this science to the core and following the principle, this science will come towards mathematical certainty. So that's the mathematics inside the universe, inside the world, inside the human body. So disease also is mathematics, not pure, it's coincidence. So there has to be a precursor and there has to be a follower. And hence my father said, if disease, if all these things is mathematics, even disease coming is a mathematics. So what is the mathematics behind? Then he went into pathology, then he went into embryology and understood how is the mathematical relation between the disease. And as I said, that ectoderm coming, ectoderm is basically giving you the skin, the mesoderm giving you the cartilage, and the viscera, the endoderm giving you the epithelium. So all this, there is a linkage between. So it is predictable. When it is mathematics, it is predictable. 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. That's no rocket science, right? 20 plus 20 is 40. So similarly, if I suppress asthma, it's going to go into cartilage. That's no rocket science. That's mathematics. So that's the mathematics in human body. Body will move, or disease will move, and it will shift the miasm as well. So this is one part of physical mathematics. But the second part where he emphasized, as I said, was that the disease. So let's say that somebody is suffering from cartilage problems, joint pains. So how does it equate to mathematics? So what do you mean by joint pains? What do you mean by connective tissue? Why a connective tissue individual has, a human has? So he went back into evolution and he explained that whenever, and the evolution of humans from a single cellular life to a multicellular, and evolution of humans have happened. The development has gone up by creating only endoderm first, then the mesoderm, and of course then last is the ectoderm coming up. And then why is the mesoderm coming? It's coming to give a protection, it's coming to give a value to some human body. So skeleton which is formed from the somites, if you understand the embryology, from the somites, the cell skeleton which is coming is adding value to human body. It is protecting human organs, and it is giving a stability to human body. So that is the amount of mathematics involved, that any individual who is having problem with value, somebody devalued him, he's felt insecure about certain thing, or his esteem has been hurt, he's been humiliated, the structure is affected, then it's the bone, then it's the cartilage, then it's the mesoderm which gets affected. And we can directly question that person, that where are you getting humiliated? What is, if you have the cartilage problem, of course it differs from individual parts as well. Having a problem with your neck, having a problem with your shoulders, having a problem with your knee, the causative factors will be different. But at least one go, we know that the mathematical relation is somewhere the humiliation that particular patient has gone through. Because body is merely a tool, body is merely a follower, it's the orderer is the mind, and we forget the mind body axis. And this is where he emphasized the mathematics behind mind and body. And if there is no mathematics in mind, so it's just that I gave this remedy and his inflammation went, his joint pains were better, his arthritis was better. How is that? Have you understood why he was suffering from that? What was the reason? And that is where homeopathy or predictive homeopathy is, we work on. It's not that what is wrong, why it is wrong. Because there is a mathematics between why and what. If why you understand, then you understand the what, and you are able to reverse the what. So that's the mathematics in the human body, which he equated to the mind and mind axis and the physical axis. And from there, if you stimulate the mind in the right manner, you find the conflict inside the human brain and human emotions which are contributing on the body, then you are able to reverse the process on the mathematical grounds, based on embryology, based on the miasms. And that is where He called that homeopathy is purely a science, of course. Then, if you practice that science in on the basis of philosophy as well as principles and ethics, then it will become mathematics in understanding the reversal process. And you keep on, practicing it, daily. It's something. It's not only homeopathy. Anything where you follow the fundamentals, whether it is cricket, football, hockey, any game, you follow the fundamentals correctly. Initially, it is a technique. So you follow the technique correctly, and once you follow the technique, your skill starts getting, elevated. And your skill starts getting elevated, that's the time when you call it's an art, right? So similarly in homeopathy as well, when you initially start, it's always a science because you are trying to understand the foundation correct, the tables of the miasm, the Herring's law, the constitution, etc. And when you understand and try to implement that into practice, the better and better you get, it becomes a level of skill, and the level of skill goes to a level of art. And hence every homeopath is an artist. A homeopath is an artist. He will only, what to say, express that art when he has understood the science correctly, followed the ideology correctly, and he is very strong with his fundamentals. Otherwise, he's only a technician, but not an artist.
I'm just keep on asking my questions only. We'll pick up few questions from the audience as well.
Yes,
So
sure.
there's a question, sir. Do you think vital force exists? And if yes, what is the scientific basis of vital force?
Absolutely, it exists. So that's what I was trying to mention, that we need to talk on basis of science. So one is you understand the philosophy part, but once you understand the science part, and then you understand the philosophy part. So those who have asked this question, for us, we need to understand the philosophy of life. Human body, for example, if somebody dies, let's say his name is Amar, and that fellow dies. So how do you say that when he's no more? We say Amar ko idhar lao, ya uski body ko idhar lao, right? We say uski body ko idhar lao, na. We never say Amar ko idhar lao. When he's alive, we call by his name. So what is that Amar, right? What is that Ambrish, right? So it's only the body. So if you understand Adhyatma, if you understand the philosophy of life, whether whichever religion you follow, there is a philosophy of life. So this is only a stool sharira. This is only a stool sharir. This is only a physical body. The physical body is running by a particular force. And if this force is understood correctly, if those who are reading Vedanta, those who are reading Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned that it is the Chetana, it is the Urja, and it is it's the vital principle which is running the body, which is called as the Sukshma Sharir. This is the Sukshma Sharir. So the Sukshma Sharir is the minimum what is required. It is a facilitator, mind you, it is a facilitator which facilitates the physical body. And this facilitator is in connection with the divinity, whether you believe it or you don't believe it. That's the point, that it is run by the particular divinity. So this facilitator you may not see, you may not agree, but that is running the whole system. That has a tendency to make you ill. That has a tendency to make you recover from this illness. And you name it as vital principle, you name it as vital force, you name it as energy, whatever you want to name it, but there is something that divine which runs your body. And once your life is no more, you're gone, you only your stool sharir is remaining, then you bury, you burn, whatever you want to do, the person leaves this world. But what runs that particular body is that Chetna and Urja, which facilitates the body, which manufactures all the disease, and that not only manufactures the physical, or rather facilitates the physical body, but it also creates a movement with the emotions. So mind has very many factions. So emotion is one part of the mind, intellect is one aspect of the mind. So but that which runs the mind, that which runs the emotion, that which runs the or facilitates the mind, is the one what we call as vital force. And what do you do? What do you think when you prescribe a remedy? What happens? Your body cures. But how does the body cures? When you say you stimulate the vital force, what does happen? Vital, it's only a force, it's only a facilitator. So whenever all the systems are functioning in the correct manner, there is a particular equilibrium which is maintained inside the human body. And when this equilibrium is maintained, this equilibrium what we call as immunity. And this immunity is nothing but your vital force. This immunity is nothing but a force which is governing the human body, running it, maintaining properly, and also possible of making it ill whenever the immune impairment happens. So if you read the Robbins, in the initial part of Robbins, it's that's a force which is going on, and it's one cell is connected to another, and another cell connected to another. So it's all or none phenomena inside the body, which is also a facilitator. What do you see? Say the facilitator is the vital force. How does the cell run? Who allows the cell to run? How your genetics are formed? So all the gradients inside your body, how the nutritive gradients, a facilitator, that's the vital force. And when you prescribe, that's what, of course, we don't have, that's not the platform to discuss, but we also in our SCPH courses, we, try to share how this gets affected, why homeopathic medicines act here, and what is the base of homeopathic medicines, and how do we different from allopathic medicine, and how homeopathic medicines differ. What is the electron base? What is the positron base? So we go into details of that and try to explain how a reversal is possible with homeopathy and not with other sciences. Why it is possible? Because it is positron based and other systems are electron based. So you don't see something, that doesn't mean you don't believe it. That is because science has not advanced. Homeopathy, let me come to this point also. People say it is a placebo science, right? We are unable to see a medicinal substance inside, but you will never be able to see because, as Nikola Tesla has said this long back, that the day science studies the non-physical phenomena, science will go 10 times ahead than what researches they are. So to say that life is only material, life is made of material and immaterial. So the material is your body, the immaterial is the vital force, right? So once the immaterial is in tune, then your body facilitates. So what happens when the first embryogenesis happens in first 3 to 4 months, then the fetus starts kicking inside. We say that fetus has become viable. What do you mean by viability? Right? So क्या आत्मा आता है अंदर? आप दिखते हैं किधर आत्मा? Do you hear some sound of atma going inside the womb, or you see some energy going inside the womb? No. The force is already inside. It gets facilitated. It gets activated. Why? That's the positron energy which gets facilitated. The positron energy facilitates the electron energy, and then and only then a human body can function. And whenever the human body electrons get degraded or goes into destruction, the positron energy, the positron vital force can go to the extent and reverse. And that is why only homeopathy can reverse the disease, reverse the process, because homeopathy is on positron science. So that's the God particle. If you try to Google it, that's the God particle. That they are unable to stabilize it. They are able to stabilize electron, and electrons are all building block of the material universe. So that does not mean that the immaterial does not work. When the science will get advanced, if the science get advanced, then and only then they'll be able to understand the base of positron. Otherwise, they will only see the effect of positron, and they will be able to do research on electron, effect on electron, but only if positron can be seen. They'll not be able to find out the base and the shape of a positron. I hope your question is answered.
Really, really. I'm even very much, surprised with such a to-the-point answer. The questions were in my mind have been asked, long time. There's a question, and I must tell you, there are a lot of your students here across the world. They are saying you Happy Teachers Day.
Thank you, everyone. I wish them a very, very happy Teachers Day.
I'm from Amritsar, I'm from Punjab, so I'm your old student. There are a lot of audience today. So, okay, there's a question, sir. Please tell about basic understanding of conflicts.
Well, okay. So, it's very difficult to explain in a very short possible time. But this is where my father also got inspired, and he read few books on hammer, the German new medicine, hammer theory, right? So those who are practicing who all on these lines, they already know. But it's more to do with the German new medicine. He understood that, he applied it more, and he researched and he developed his own technique. So it's the one part is that body is made up of material and immaterial. So if you see a result and effect on the material, that means there is something which has ordered, which is the mind, right? And the mind is run also by the immaterial. So the mathematics, as I said, there's a mathematics in human body as well. It is all related and focused on whatever is the thought process. So for example, somebody having problem with headaches, this is what my father said. Somebody having problem with headaches, head means something to do with senior and higher authority, right? So we always say, when I go into the clinic, that patient is a headache for me. When I go in my office, then my boss is a headache for me. When I go to in my in-laws place, my father-in-law is a headache for me. So that is when you have a conflict with higher authority. It could be your relation, it could be a boss, it could be a higher authority, it could be somebody in the political background, in the legal background, etc. So when a higher authority affects you and gives you pain, that is where you start getting headaches. And straight away there is a conflict. There is a relation between the thought process affecting that individual, creating a particular physiopathology and expression in form of headache. So headache is only a resultant, but headache is telling us what is why he is getting that headache. So somebody getting problem with the neck is supposed to be esteem. हम लोग उसको हिंदी में मान बोलते हैं, मान सम्मान, right? So neck. So somebody who is having recurrent cervical problem, his respect always will get affected. So he's getting insulted. So again, human body is so much mathematics. He said the right side is more to do with partner and left side is more to do with home. So wherever, if you're having a right side neck pain, means your husband is insulting you, your partner is insulting you, you're getting humiliated in the business. And those who wear this collar and bone, the collarbone, etc., where they say, oh, I'm just trying to support. Why your neck is getting affected? So the causative factor for that neck problem has to be understood. The why, what is making it ill? And if there he went further to study even the biology of perception. Those who want to know, you can type in YouTube and understand the biology of perception, where he says that we are what what our parents have faced. So the perception which they have faced, or the lifestyle, or the perception which they grew in their lifestyle, is transmitted to you, and your organ affinity is become weak, or becomes weak. So every individual has its own weakened affinity, and that we call as a predisposed affinity. So for somebody, neck is weak, somebody head is weak, somebody gastric is weak, somebody the renal systems are weaker. So whenever a particular disease gets manifested, it's not only the disease, but from the disease we are able to realize what is the thought process going inside the human body. So it's the bone, it's the value, it's the head, it is somebody senior, it's if it's the right side, it is the partner, it's the left side, it is the home, if it is the knee, it is the performance, it is the back, it is the family, or finance, if it is the hip, it is also a performance and structure. So as and when the expression of disease is equivalent to the resultant thought process of that. So if it's a child, the thought process is coming from the mother, the perception comes from the mother. If it's the patient, then it is of his own, if it's an adult grown. So this is how is the relation. So every disease you can read an individual and like an open book. And again there is mathematics. So no disease can happen inside a human body without a mathematics in the brain. And that's the perception, the purview. So, for example, if we are going out and I see people smiling, you take it, it's okay, they're smiling, they're happy. I take it, they're smiling on me. So that's my perception. That's how I perceive. And that brings about a change, and then it starts affecting me. And I start having a particular delusion or illusion about that people. That again in turn creates a particular physiopathology and creates a disease. So that is where my perception is at problem, my processing unit here at my brain is problem, creating a pathology. That's the relation between the perception and the pathology, the mind and the pathology. And that's the that's how we study the conflicts. We try to understand that, and upon that we understand the gravity of conflict. From that we come down to a delusion, and from that we come down to a rubric, decipher the rubric and prescribe. That's the newest technique which my father was on the words, and that's what we share in SCPH and SCPH plus. And trust me, we're getting fabulous results. We're going to the detail depth of that case analysis and getting reversals in malignant condition, genetic mutational conditions, autoimmune disease, neurodevelopmental disorders, etc. That is why where Hanuman is said in the footnote that if the disease has to be cured, it's the imagination which is causing the disease, and it has to be only cured with imagination. Picking the imagination, yeah, imagination is the delusion, the perception, the for perception. In Hindi we call it is Brahm. Everybody has its own Brahm,
Brahma.
and then contributes to the disease, again depending upon the defense mechanism of miasms. Sora, psychosis, syphilis
Okay.
cannot leave you. Yes.
Mhm. Very true. Sir, can you tell me about the requirements and who can join your courses? Either you send me the brochure, I'll be posting this because we are getting
Absolutely.
questions that how to
Absolutely.
join the course, and is there any basic qualification or entrance exam required for that?
No, absolutely not. We are all open for all homeopathic students and doctors who want to learn the technique of my father and Hanuman. And we have modules. Module one is a foundation course where we teach embryology, miasm, and GCS, genetic constitutional simillimum.
Constitution.
And then in the second module, we give more knowledge about materia medica, more about case discussion and application of module one, what we learn. And in third module, it's more to understanding of repertory and materia medica, the triamiasmatic materia medica.
Okay.
And then we have CCPH course for especially students who have just passed out in after internship. So we have this is almost 16 or 17 batch we are into, and more than 500 to 700 students have graduated from our institute. Where we take, because of COVID now we have restriction, but earlier we were used to take 60 students from all over India. So it's a more of a residential course. They come, they attend our chain of clinics, our panel doctors, and then they see day in day out what is miasm, what is Hering's law, how to do repertorize, how to differentiate rubrics, and then after 6 months we have an examinations, and then we have a certification. But as an entrance, we don't have any entrance exam or something. They can do our courses online. They can download our app, Predictive Homeopathy app, or go to our website. I'll surely send you all the details of our course. And anybody who is in homeopathy and homeopathy as a homeopathic students can do our course. We have no restriction on that.
That's so great. That's so great. So there's a question: how can we classify congenital diseases which are of destructive composition in relation to miasm? Does that mean that syphilis exists from the birth? And how can we justify that there might be some sora in background?
See, Sora will be there everywhere. Let me answer again in this in two parts. First, we need to understand what you mean by genetic. So, genetic means whether there is a chromosomal defect which is coming, or whether it is a single gene mutation. Because genetic mutations can be of three types, or genetic problems can be of three types. Primary is your single gene mutation which happens, and because of single gene mutation, which is autosomal dominant, autosomal recessive, etc. And second is actually the chromosomal defect. That means we do the karyotyping and we see there is a definite anomaly which is a problem, and that is resulting in it. So that could be chromosomal defect, can be structural, and chromosomal defect can be numerical, right? And the third is the multifactorial. So all diseases are coming, major diseases are coming under multifactorial. Myocardial infarct, renal failures, SLE, everything coming under multifactorial genetic disorder. Every disease has to have a link with its gene. Whether you believe or don't believe, it's the genes which make this happen. So all the factors contribute you towards going towards the renal failure or myocardial infarct. So that's the primary part we differentiate. So this is, in turn we could classify them as syphilitic cases because they are boiling down to the genetic level. Yes, every disease has to have a sora. No disease, Hahnemann has said no person can be free of sora. So Sora, and I forgot the number of aphorism, but he said that either the Sora is developed, it's developed from Sora, or Sora matured into psychosis and then goes into syphilis. So Sora straight away goes into syphilis, or Sora follows the Sora psychosis syphilis. So that's
Aphorism number 78, 79, he spoke about
so
psychosis and syphilis, and 80, he spoke about
so
Sora.
yeah, but he's mentioned where it is developed from Sora or Sora graduates. So when you say developed from Sora means he's already having some syphilitic trait.
From Sora.
So Sora graduates into syphilis, or he graduates is normally as from Sora to psychosis, and from psychosis goes into syphilis. So when you classify genetic mutation, for example, certain children who are coming to us, they in their genetic mutation primary it is not seen. So first 6 months when they do the genetic testing, it is not seen, or axonal study or karyotyping or single gene mutation test, it's not seen anything. But after 1.5 years, it's seen. Why? So, but the effects have started to see, within 6 months. So there is a delay. The growth is retarded. The child starts losing weight. So why? Because that is the patient is still in psychosis. And when he goes to the level of syphilis, that's where he starts the genetic mutation actually starts representing, and then the reports can catch it. So it is very wrong for me to say that we can classify them, primarily, because these diseases are primarily syphilitic in origin. They are syphilitic. The approach is syphilitic. It's more genetic and autoimmune cases. But upon the presentation, you can classify into SORA, because that's a defense mechanism, as I said. So when the defense mechanism is expressed, for example, if he's having a trait of pneumonia initially, and the pneumonia gets suppressed, and this the patient straight away goes into an infarct. So that's the SORA which goes into syphilis. So then I can classify that as sorosyphilis. So but if he's going from pneumonia inflammation to consolidation, and from consolidation he is going into renal failure, then I know it's going from SORA to psychosis to syphilis. He can be clubbed into psychosyphilitic illnesses. So upon the presentation of that, we can put them into different zones. But primary, if you want to remember, they are all syphilitic in origin, of course.
Okay. So there is a viewer saying, I can see Dr. Praful Vijayakar sir spark in you.
Thank you so much. But yeah, of course, I'm his son. So some genetic traits probably. And I'm sure I've surrendered myself to my father. He's doing his job from there. I'm just using my body, but he's doing his job from the divinity.
I have a one question, very personal one. If you don't want to answer, that's fine. How it feels to be a kid of a celebrity? How do you feel any struggle in your life being a celebrity kid? Do you find it difficult anyway?
You know what? That's a very good question. I would like to answer that, because not many people know about it. When I was in my medical schooling, my friends used to say, "Oh, Ambrish, ro kya hai? तेरे पिताजी का तो clinic है, तेरे को जाके बैठना है, patients है." But very few understand that it's the most difficult job, because when your father is such a great legend, he's a great personality in that field, expectations and people start seeing you from a different point of completely. So they used to always say, it's easy for you, it's easy for you, it's easy for you. I mean, it's easier said than done, when you're actually going through that phase. But I'll tell you here what made a difference to me. Primarily, I was never affected by it, because I love to be a learner myself. I never imagined that you achieve and be satisfied by that. I'm a learner. I am a student. I keep on going. And my father always told me, first day when I took admission in my Virar Homeopathic Medical College, he said, Amrish, remember, you're coming in the same field. A point will come when people will start comparing you with me, right? So what you have to do is you have to just focus on your work. You have to just focus the job which is there in your hand. So if you have a patient in front of you, just keep healing the patient. You don't think anything else. The job is for learning. The job is for knowledge. You just keep taking knowledge and keep doing your job. So this is the greatest advice which he gave me, that just focus on processes of life. Don't worry about the result. Don't worry about what is happening. So control what is in your control. Don't control what is not in your control. And once you do that, automatically things will fall in place. And this is exactly, I followed his words to the core. And because he said, when you come into practice, mind you, Ambrish, people, they will not say that, oh, Praful Vijayakar is 40 years experience, Ambrish Vijayakar is 1 year experience. They'll always have a comparison. But that shouldn't deter you and bother you. You know, those are like bouncers a batsman faces. He has to face that and take it on his body to build your character, and that will build your character. That will, give you that courage to go on and on. And whenever the divinity wants, you will reach that level. But just keep focus on the job which you have in hand. And I just purely follow that. And today, even till today, in my practice, I just focus on the process. I don't focus on the result. And the patient also is coming in from front of me. I don't care whether he's going to get all right or not. My job is to find out the right medicine, and that point in time, things will be taken care of. And hence, it was very easy, I would say, for me to follow that advice. And things happen around people. People will say, because he said, you cannot satisfy 100% people, right? There will be people who are dissatisfied, there will be people who are satisfied, but just keep doing your job. And this is how life is. And I kept doing that, focused on the processes, I think. And this, I will still keep doing the same. It doesn't matter to me. But of course, I would say I'm blessed to be a son of a great legend. And I'm blessed to be in the lineage, the fourth doctor in my family. So my father, my grandfather, my father's brother, Dr. Pradeep Vijayakar, and his grandfather, all were doctors. And I'm blessed to take, it's probably a genetic inheritance which we have. And I'll just keep doing my job. Rest things will happen.
Okay. You always wanted to become a homeopath? Is it? Are you being
Absolutely,
forced?
absolutely. Yes, there was no doubt about it, because as I said first, I remember, if I can share that incident, it was a Kolhapur seminar in 1997, 98, which my father had gone, and I had been with him. So I was in my 10th, 11th standard, 10th standard, I suppose. So there. When I saw that huge crowd, gathering, and my father showing cases, and then they applauding, and then they come, towards him for autographs. So you always get inspired by looking at it. Oh wow, So it's not about copying your father. It's not about imitating your father. You wanted to emulate, and walk on the same lines which he had. So that really inspired me. And I said, Baba, I'm sure one day I will also become a doctor, and I'm also going to go on the stage and give such lectures. And then he said, yes, Amrish, just keep doing your job. Just keep focus on your knowledge, and things will happen and things will revolve. That's
I'm
that's
I'm
where.
so I'm so heartfelt with this son and father's bond. I'll tell you my experience. It is of 2013. There was a seminar in Lucknow. You
Right,
might be remembering. Okay, you might
right,
be not knowing me, but I have attended that. And Dr. Praful Vijayakar sir has to fly to Germany.
right.
Okay. So you had a class, and sir had a class one day before. Okay. Then you were just, so much hasty in completing the session. So everybody was like, Arey, he's in so hurry, he want to do the session on Monday. Then we came to know that you want to see off your father at Mumbai airport.
That's right.
Just
That
to see
remember.
off and say him
That's
good
right.
wishes at the Mumbai airport, you flew from Lucknow to Mumbai in such a hurry that you will be able to greet your father. And that was the bond of father and a son, they share. And I was so much touched. I was barely in BHMS second or third year, I remember. I remember this.
Absolutely,
I
you're
hope
right.
you
I
remember
remember that.
this.
I remember that. I remember that.
Okay, so some people
Right.
are asking me about the books of predictive homeopathy. There are so many like frequent encounters, which I have studied. Theory of suppression, theory of acutes, and there is also a chart and rubric book.
Yes. Yeah, I mean,
Am I right?
they can go on the website predictivehomeopathy.com, and you can get the details of the book, as well as you can download the app, which is completely free, and you can get all the information about our courses, books, seminars, etc. You'll find it there. You can buy it on online as well.
Okay. Sir, there's a question. What is the best book to read about conflicts?
See, I think primarily you need to understand the German New Medicine. Uh, you can Google it, GNM, and then you can understand Dr. Hammer's theory, which was a base for my fathers to, go ahead with research on the conflict. Unfortunately, he wanted to come out with his book on the conflict, and he has some information, loads of information and material which is left behind. So we'll try our best to compile that and come out with an information and book which could probably help people. I'll try my best to, and it will be purely his words and his information, but we'll try to compile that. But as a foundation, I would say read the GNM, which will make your foundation more easier to understand what Dr. Vijayakar was teaching.
Okay. I have taken a lot of your time, but still, I have a last question. Uh, what is the contribution of Dr. Praful Vijayakar sir in the School of Predictive Homeopathy in the field of medicine, and what is the further vision of predictive homeopathy?
Well, I would say, not just because I'm his son, I would say he had a great contribution. I would say he's one of the pillars of homeopathy. And I think all those who are listening will agree to that. That the contribution is because he infused confidence in homeopaths. He brought homeopaths to homeopathy, and he made sure that they practice homeopathy and they could earn their living out of homeopathy. And sorry, not only that, so he gave a scientific base to homeopathy, where that scientific base was missing, and he brought organon importance of organon to homeopathy. So that I would say was the biggest contribution of my father, because not many schools or not many doctors are focusing on the basis of organon. So, and that's what makes him a legend, because not many people venture out into explanation of organon. Of course, there are many contributions. He's impacted many lives. The life number of people who have been impacted by him as an individual. It's not only homeopathy, as an individual, as a person, is huge and massive. But he the best part was he added value to people's life. So whether it is a patient, whether it is a friend, whether it is any simple man going from the road, he added value to him. And that's the contribution not only to homeopathy, to mankind. I would say he has contributed to mankind. So his passing away is a damage to the mankind and humanity. So our vision will be, the show will go on, the show must go on. My father was a positive individual, and we want to actually go down to the basic and get more students towards homeopathy as a choice, and not as a default, as a choice. And manufacture good Hahnemannian organon based scientific homeopaths who can add value to people's life and make a difference to the ailing humanity.
I would like to here add something. When I used to listen Dr. Praful Vijayakar sir, so apart from homeopathy, I'll tell you, I was very immature to understand or assimilate the embryology, the suppression, what he used to say. But what I learned, two things from him. Number one, he made homeopathy easy and accessible to everyone.
Absolutely,
When we pass
absolutely,
out, we have internships, so we have no idea what is going around in the world. Neither
absolutely.
we are confident enough to practice. But I have seen the students who have, I'm not boasting because I have attended all the seminars. I'm very much, unbiased about that. But I have seen the confidence in students, those who have, continuously studied from the seminars of predictive. By the end of the internship, they are ready to open their clinic. One thing, I am very much grateful to Dr. Praful Vijayakar sir. Another thing which I have learned from him, to accept the failures. He is the only homeopath, I must say, who has written about his failed cases, which I admire about him
Absolutely
altogether.
right. Absolutely, I do agree with you.
He has said on, 2,000 students were there in the on the auditorium, and he said that he treated a lady for hair fall and she landed up into breast cancer. I'm sure I can say this, nobody can do that.
Absolutely right.
1.5
Uh,
kg
I
liver is
think I think
not at all
you hit the
enough.
nail. You hit the nail exactly. That two
Yes.
most important points probably which I missed is giving confidence to homeopaths in practicing homeopathy, young students. and second is accepting failures, and saying it from a stage, it requires a big guts.
Yes, who name a person who has never failed in his
Yeah,
life or
and
in her life.
everybody
That too
talks
in a
about
practice.
successful cases. He talked about
Exactly.
the failure cases, and that will remain, because in his book of theory of separation, he's talked only about his failures first. And I
Failures.
remember, I would
Exactly.
like to share an incident where we're having a seminar in Germany, and then a few doctors approach us and say, what we like about Dr. Vijayakar the most is he's accepted his failures in his books, which will be
Correct.
written in black and white, which nobody dares. They can talk on the stage, they can see, but then something to write on the book, you require great courage and acceptance,
Exactly.
because that will remain
Exactly.
for years for people. But that's the best. He always, he always went against the tide. He
Right.
went against the tide, because of course now we have the computers to understand repertory. When he used to practice, he used to have his repertory, his complete repertory, and then he used to open up repertory. He used to not read from the top. He would go from the bottom to the top. So his nature was, he exactly went against the tide, and then he said that if you go against the tide, you will find the answer. You don't go with the tide. So very
Not just
rightly said.
accepting the failures, this gives courage to us that if a stalwart like him, he has failed multiple times, so there's no point, there's no harm in accepting our failures. Eventually, we
Absolutely,
are
and
students.
I want to make one more point, Dr. Anam. Here is, students of today, they want to get fast results and easy results. They are not ready to accept that, oh, fail हो गया तो छोड़ देंगे practice. ऐसा नहीं है. It's a build up. It's a build up. You have to give that much time. You have to fail, and then you will be successful. So that is what is the biggest learning. So from his failures, he has bounced back, because he used to always tell me, Ambrish, what is the definition of success? Success is something when you fall and you fail. How you fight back is very important. It's not about how many successful cases you have. How you fight back will determine your success. And that was his story of life. He always fought and fought for homeopathy, fought for homeopaths, and fought for his patients.
Very true, very true. So, I'm so much thankful to you, sir. You have spent, this much chunk of your time, of your day, and you were so kind. You were so patient because I'm a very anticipated, student, and you have always, cope up with the speed. Thank you so much for your valuable time, and I think this is the best tribute we can give to Dr. Prithvi Vijayakar sir, wherever he is, because I think he's still alive and he is in us.
Absolutely.
In my practice,
Absolutely.
in the books, when I give results, so he's there. And I don't think teachers they can get even better
I think
than
absolutely,
him.
and I think now, if I can add something here, is Akanam is present in each and every homeopath like us, and making sure that we practice right homeopathy and take the journey ahead. So thank you very
Very
much
good.
for having me, and it was
Thank you
great
so
pleasure,
much.
great questions, and
And you have also inspired millions and those who later watch the video. The way you admire, you adore your father is really commendable. I have seen it back 2013, and it's the same. The moment you take name of your father, the spark in your eyes, the smile on your face, it says all.
I love him and I miss him. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so
God
much.
bless, and bye bye
Thank
to
you
all
so
the.
much. Sir.
Thank you. Bye
And
bye.
I'm
Bye bye.
looking forward to have more sessions on you. I have more topics and more questions.
Absolutely, absolutely, we'll have. Dr. Lee. God
Thank you
bless.
so much, sir. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Bye bye.
Have a
Bye
good
bye.
weekend. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.